Alright guys, it's me, TheBladeGamer. Of course, as many of you know, E3 2012 is now over. Many of you may be wondering why I'm doing this now, considering E3 press conferences have been over since Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I should say. The reason being is because I was busy with a variety of things. I was preparing for my 20th birthday for most of the time. I was way too tired to um, get anything done pertaining to my channel because of all the work that I had to do preparing for that. So I'm going to give you a rundown of the press conferences at E3, my opinions of them, and I will give them a grade based on how well they did. Starting with Microsoft, we knew that there wasn't going to be much. If Microsoft did not announce their next Xbox, they would have nothing to offer on a major level. Now, Microsoft is known for showing off third-party games because they don't really have that many first-party games. They showed off a variety of good third-party games, including Splinter Cell Blacklist, Madden, and other EA Sports games, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil 6, Dance Central 3, which is an exclusive, but it's third-party, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is at every Microsoft convention. The first-party games they showed off were Halo 4, everyone knew about that, Fable the Journey, everyone knew about that, Forza Horizon, which was inevitable, because Forza games come out once every 1 to 2 years, and they showed off one game that not everyone was expecting unless they knew about the magazine leak the day before Microsoft's press conference, which is Gears of War Judgment, which is going to be a prequel to the Gears of War series. Now, Microsoft didn't really announce much, and they basically did on par to what I expected. They showed off game demos, a few new games, several Kinect games, a few first-party games that were easily predictable. They did show off a new game called Ascend: New God, which is different than pretty much anything we've seen before from Microsoft. I don't know if it's early development, but it kind of looked really mediocre from the trailer. But the one thing that they announced that not everyone was expecting was Xbox Smart Glass, which is kind of an in-between between the current generation and the Wii U. Essentially, it can't be used with everything and anything, but it can be used for certain games, certain programs on Xbox Live like Netflix. You can get more in-depth detail, so it's kind of like an in-between tablet controller for the 360. You can't really do much with it, so I don't really think it's worth the cost unless it's free, which I didn't really pay attention to. Overall, I thought Microsoft had a decent press conference for not announcing their next box. It's better than what they usually have, but at the same time, nothing was surprising and everything was predictable. Next year, though, I know without a doubt they are going to announce the next box. Microsoft never lets their competition get ahead of the game for more than a year. Whether or not the PS4 will be there, it probably will, but it might not come out the next year. So overall rating for Xbox, or Microsoft I should say, I would give it a C, A being the highest. They did well for their conferences. So C, C+. Alright, next up is Sony. Sony did better than we were expecting, or at least what I was expecting, but they didn't announce as much as I was expecting. So they announced a new game by Quantic Dream, the developer of Heavy Rain, and if I'm not mistaken, Indigo Prophecy for the PlayStation 2. The games that they are known for are very story-driven, movie-like even, and if you're into that style of gameplay, it'll be something to look forward to, called Beyond Two Souls, featuring Ellen Page as the main actor. It looks really cool. They didn't really show off if it was going to be like Heavy Rain, where it's mostly action commands, or if it was going to be an action game. But regardless, I'm sure it's going to be good. They announced a couple of Vita titles that were not previously known about. They announced Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, which includes the first female assassin playable. They announced Call of Duty Black Ops. I can't remember the subtitle of it. But everyone knew a Call of Duty game was coming to the Vita. No one really knew what it was. So hopefully this game will be good, and not just a scaled down version of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Now, Sony also showed off two new characters for PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. They showed off Nathan Drake and Big Daddy. I was not expecting a third-party character to be announced for PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale quite yet, although I did quite enjoy it, and it makes me curious about what other third-party characters will be included in PlayStation All-Stars. They showed off God of War Ascension, which looks great. They showed off The Last of Us, which in my opinion was probably the best demo of any game shown at E3. It was fantastic. Sony did a really great job. But aside from that, they really didn't do anything. They announced a thing called Wonderbook, which is more for avid readers and children, because you can create your own stories. If you're a big Harry Potter buff, J.K. Rowling is working on a book for Wonderbook called The Book of Spells, so you can get a more in-depth look at spells from Harry Potter. Sony did a really good job presenting what was already known, but they did a very poor job at announcing new things. In fact, they only announced two Vita games, which are third-party and spin-offs of main series. They also announced a couple of games that you can get on PSN Plus for free. So really, they didn't do that much. But overall, I would give Sony a B+. They presented themselves very well. Although nothing was surprising, they did exactly what they needed to for what was announced. It really makes me think that Microsoft and Sony are saving their big guns for next year when they unveil their next consoles, unlike Nintendo did last year, and unlike what Nintendo did this year. Now, into Nintendo. Nintendo is the most disappointing out of all three. At least Microsoft and Sony were on par to what most of us expected if they did not unveil their new generation of consoles. Nintendo, on the other hand, dropped the ball. This was Nintendo's year to prove to every gamer, hardcore, casual, minor, just any kind of gamer there was, that they had a system worth offering. And they dropped the ball. First off, they announced 3 games for the system, 2 of which had already been guessed and confirmed. They announced Pikmin 3, which has been in development since 2008 for the Wii. Everyone knew that this was going to be a Wii U launch title. It looks great, it looks fantastic, but it was not surprising in the slightest. They announced New Super Mario Bros. U, shown last year as New Super Mario Bros. Me as a tech demo. They showed off a trailer showing some of the new things added to the game, such as Baby Yoshi's coming back. You can use blue Baby Yoshis to blow spit bubbles to kind of pick up enemies in a bubble bobble type of way. Things of that nature. Looks great. Again, we knew about it. The one game they announced that we did not know about was Nintendo Land. However, Nintendo Land is a mini-game compilation of tech demos that were shown last year in order to give people an in-depth look at what the system can offer. Essentially, it's what Wii Sports did for the Wii. You may not like sports, you may not like it for long, you may not enjoy it for long, but it will tell you how to use the system in the ways that they intend to use it. So they were showing off Luigi's Mansion, that Luigi's Mansion minigame. It looks really fun. Essentially, the person using the gamepad with the tablet will be a ghost trying to scare 4 other people on the map. These 4 other people are trying to drain the life of the ghost by shining their flashlights on it. If they hold their flashlights on their allies that were fallen, they can resurrect them. And essentially, whoever wins is the person who destroys the opposing team. So if you get rid of the ghost, you win. If you get rid of the people with the flashlights, you win. Very simple premise, looks fun, but it's going to get old very quickly, like a Mario Party game or any other minigame compilation there is. Now, aside from that, Nintendo really didn't announce anything that was impressive to the core gamer. Aside from those 3 games, they announced a karaoke game. They showed off more of Darksiders 2, Batman Armored Edition, more of a variety of different things. One thing that was pretty cool was Lego. What is it? I think it's like Lego City, something like that. That looked really fun. It's essentially a kid-friendly Grand Theft Auto, where instead of playing a gangster, you're playing a cop trying to save civilians from what it seems. It looks really fun. If you like the Lego style of gameplay, it's interesting, and it's Nintendo published, which not that many people know. They did show off a good number of games, but none of them really appeal to the core gamer, which is what they were aiming for with this system to begin with. Assassin's Creed 3 is coming to the Wii U, which pretty much anyone could have predicted. Rayman Legends looks pretty awesome, but aside from that, there's like nothing shown software-wise for the Wii U. In addition to not announcing any good games, they failed to announce any hardware features, software, firmware features, prices, launch windows, anything. They did not announce it. They did not announce a final price, like predicted. They did not announce a launch window, although they are continuing to say Holiday 2012. They did not show off the Nintendo Network, which is the online service that every core gamer is looking for. They didn't show off anything about the system that people wanted and needed and deserved to know. We may be able to handle the lackluster amount of games that are going to be available at launch if they showed off some software and hardware features for the system itself, which they neglected to do on every single level. My only predictions as to why they did not do this year was one of a few things. One, they are saving games, launch window, price point, etc. for either Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show. Gamescom is on an almost equal level to E3. However, it is based in Europe, so most Americans, or at least people in the North America, don't really have access to it that easily. Two, Tokyo Game Show is also a big gaming convention, not quite as big, but they did announce some big titles last year at Tokyo Game Show, like Monster Hunter 4 and Monster Hunter 3G, as well as the Circle Pad Pro for the 3DS. So that's my only guess, is they're saving the price and launch window for that, and maybe a couple other games, if anything. Otherwise, I'd say that they're saving their big guns for next year. Everyone knows that there's at least 2 or 3 games in development first party for the Wii U, in addition to Nintendo published and a lot of third party games. They will probably be saving their big guns for next year to cut into the attention that the PS4 and next Xbox will be getting. Think about it. Last year for the 3DS, they announced a few great games. They announced Luigi's Mansion 2. They announced Super Mario 3D Land. They announced Animal Crossing, Paper Mario Sticker Star. They announced a whole ton of 3DS titles. But we didn't see them until now. It's been a year and a half since then, and we have seen nothing on them until this E3. What Nintendo might be doing is saving their big guns for next year so that they come out the same year they're announced, making the system more appealable. Unfortunately, this might not work too well for Nintendo, considering that they really dropped the ball. However, the next day they did a Nintendo 3DS software showcase. The 3DS didn't get much attention. It just kind of got a sizzle reel, and that was about it. But some of the games that were shown off were Castlevania, Luigi's Mansion 2, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, and a variety of others. If you stuck around and watched that, it was really fascinating, and if they included at least half of those into the main E3 press conference, it wouldn't have been so lackluster. They announced a whole slew of features for the 3DS, as well as a lot of games and game features that look really, really fun, and the 3DS, in my opinion, is in very good standing for the next year and this holiday season. I would give Nintendo's E3 press conference a C-. In fact, I'd say it was even worse than Microsoft's. And I am the biggest Nintendo fan out of all three companies. Nintendo dropped the ball, and it's still dropping. And until Nintendo pulls that ball back up by announcing new games, hardware features, etc., it's going to continue to drop. And that is not something that I want to see. Now, one developer that is not first party actually won E3 in most people's opinion. Ubisoft. Ubisoft showed off the games that were already announced that looked fantastic. Rayman Legends, Far Cry 3. They announced Zombie U. They announced a bunch of Wii U games. They announced Watch Dogs, which is one of the best, if not the best, games shown at E3 this year. They showed more of Assassin's Creed 3. They showed off everything everyone expected from them, and they did this 2 years in a row. And for those of you who paid attention last year, Ubisoft almost did better than Nintendo, if not massively better than Nintendo, because last year Nintendo didn't announce anything other than their new system, essentially. Ubisoft has done a great job 2 years in a row, and they remain to be my favorite third-party developers for this very reason. I would give theirs a solid A. So, if you want to look at it from this perspective, Microsoft gets a C, C+. Nintendo gets a C due to the fact that they had a software showcase the next day. Otherwise, they would be getting a C- or a D. Sony gets a B+, and Ubisoft gets an A. EA, they showed off a lot of sports games in Dead Space 3. Not that interesting. I would give them a C-. So, I'm sorry for the long-winded response video, but I just kind of wanted to share my opinions on the press conferences because a lot of you are interested since I made an opinion video. I will be planning on making another E3 2013 prediction video next year, as well as an E3 2013 review like this video is. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.